Welcome to Where to Ski with me, your host, John Morgan. Every episode is designed to bring insights on a mountain that you, your family, or your friends might enjoy. Today we're in Vermont at Stowe Mountain Resort, Queen of the East. Grab your skis and let's dive into the world of skiing and life in the mountains. My guest today is Dave Merriam. Dave has some history at Stowe, serving as the Senior Director of Skier Services to Director of the Ski and Snowboard School. Dave doesn't just know Stowe, though. He knows skiing. He was in the Professional Ski Instructors of America demo team for 12 years, was their head coach for 8. He instructed and directed the race program at LaParva, Chile for 2 years, helped develop product for both Olin and other companies, and wrote extensively for Ski Magazine. Dave raised his 2 daughters in the area. Today, Dave lives outside Stowe with his wife, Eve. Stowe started as a logging and lumber town, propelling it to become a summer resort in the late 1800s. Summer resort activities led to winter, and Stowe became the East's first real ski resort. The town of Stowe is quintessential New England. Beautiful buildings, churches, town squares with restaurants, local business, shops, and hotels that make it attractive and fun. Getting to Stowe is easy. 25 minutes from Burlington Airport and only a few hours drive from all of New England and New York City. Stowe has made a heavy investment in base facilities, high-speed lifts and snowmaking, and now boasts some of the best facilities in the U.S. on 2 separate mountains, Mount Mansfield and Spruce Peak. There are 117 trails with a wide spread of ability levels for everyone, and a world-class ski school that make this a resort for everyone, not just the top skiers. So let's talk to Dave and see what Stowe is really like. So Dave, welcome to Where to Ski. Thanks for joining us today. Having grown up in Vermont myself, I'm excited to talk about Stowe. But before we start talking skiing, what is it about Stowe that's kept you there, allowed you to raise your family in the area, and keeps you still living there?
Well, good morning, John. It's nice to be with you. I've been in Stowe since '89, and my wife and I moved here and raised our kids here, like you said. And I think it's more than, it's a lovely community. I mean, I think that's the biggest, was the biggest drawing card, if you will, for it. With just the community was beautiful. It's in the mountains. We both love the mountains. So there's great hiking, great skiing. It's a real, full season, multi-season experience for us. So the quality of life is probably the biggest thing.
Like with a lot of people that I talk to on this series, it's about the people in a lot of cases, like-minded people who love the mountains and just want to be there.
Yes, and Stowe is, like you said, the community is lovely. We've got some fantastic friends, and then get to enjoy the outdoors and recreation and quality of life. We make sugar in the spring. We have, I've got a big giant pizza oven, so we have we host plenty of pizza parties with friends. So it's lovely here in Vermont.
Well, I'm coming to your place for sugar on pizza sometime.
Yeah, there you go. Yes.
So maybe you can give our listeners an overview of the 2 mountains that make up the ski area and what to expect when they make the 10-minute drive up from town.
Yep. So like you said, the resort's about 10 minutes. You're on Route 108. So as you drive up Route 108, the first thing that you see when you start to enter into the resort is the cross-country center. That's sort of the entry portal, if you will, to the resort. And that's where, the complimentary or free parking is with shuttle service. There's a bunch of parking there. And then you go up a little bit further and you go by the toll house that's on your left. And there's complimentary parking and shuttle service there. And then you get into the resort proper. And the first signs you'll see is Spruce Peak. And Spruce, generally from an access standpoint, drop off. So you can drop the kids off or your group with you. But that's primarily, the ski club is up there. The children's programs are there. And a lot of the ski and snowboard school is centered out of there. The hotel is there, a lot of residences and so forth. So then if you continue, so you could go in there to do your drop off. And then if you continue on and you go to the left, Route 108 ends right there at Barnes Camp in the winter. So they don't plow Route 108 that continues to go over the notch towards Smugglers. They don't plow that. So you have to take a left. And then you would run kind of right into the gondola. area, and then the parking is there, and so primarily, and that's paid parking, so during peak periods. So yeah, so then the two mountains are divided by Route 108, but then there's a transfer gondola that link the two mountains. So what a lot of, say, if you're heading to Spruce with your family because some of the kids are in ski school or something like that, you can go ahead and park there, jump on the Over Easy, and then gain access to Spruce that way. So yeah,
That makes it pretty easy.
it is. I mean, the access is easy. I mean, I think ultimately, if you're staying in town, riding the shuttle is the easiest way to get up and back and forth with the mountain, because it's one road, and with lots of traffic, it can keeping cars to a minimum is good. And then like I said, paid parking right at the base of Mansfield. So yeah.
You've talked a lot about all different levels of skiers. Stowe attracts first timers, families, experienced skiers. And the investment that Stowe's made over the past few years, has that really turned this into a mountain for everyone? It used to be known as a hard mountain.
Yeah,
one of the hardest in the East.
And it still has that terrain for sure. And then there's also been, particularly over on the Spruce side, in conjunction with the real estate development, it's lovely beginner terrain. We built a new trail off of the Adventure Triple called Inspiration, and we named it Inspiration because as you come off the chair around the corner, you get this magnificent glimpse of the front four, and the hopes is that it would inspire a new skier or a snowboarder to just continue on their route to getting better. So the Spruce area, unbelievable for first-time skiers, riders. The children's programs is there as well. And then, yeah, there's great. Then you can graduate up through the intermediate level and so forth, and then heading over to the mountain. The new six-pack, the Sunrise 6 that was put in last year, is lovely. It gains wonderful access to Tyro, Gulch, Standard, some of the really, really classic easy blues. And then, then you've got the quad and getting up on the classic, the infamous front four, as really an unbelievable sustained 2000 vertical, doesn't stop, lovely, fantastic skiing and riding.
That sounds like fun, especially getting this close to ski season.
Yeah.
What about for an expert skier? What would be a go-to day of skiing, given that the weather was decent and you were shut out of some areas? I know a lot of ski areas ski according to the time of day and where the sun hits and things like that. What would you do if you were taking runs? And
yeah, so that's exactly, follow the sun. Oftentimes my first runs, the quad generally I think opens at like 8 a.m. So either on the Mansfield side, the quad, or the Sunrise 6, and go up. And my favorite first run, kind of a warm up, don't need to jump right into the double triple blacks first run, is Lord to Sunrise, and the sun first thing in the morning lights that right up, and so you get the sort of the orange glow from the early sun. The grooming is immaculate usually, so it's lovely to just get your kind of legs warmed up, get your head in the game, and then you basically kind of continue around the mountain. Mansfield is like a big bowl, and it's bordered by the toll road, which is the easier skiing. If you look, it would be skiers right or lookers left. And then as you move across the mountain, you get to the mountain quad that gives you access to the infamous, the front four, Star, Goat, National, and Lift line. And then you proceed, so you can ski those, but by 11 o'clock, those are a lot of times, based on the time of year, it starts to get flat light. So then you can move towards the gondola, and the gondola, the light is really good there, mid to late morning and into the early afternoon. And you can, unbelievably wonderful cruisers on Perry Merrill and Gondolier. And then in the afternoon, it's called Sunny Spruce for a reason. And, it's more southerly facing. So you jump on the Over Easy, boom, head over there, and then you can hit Sensation Quad or the Sunny Spruce. And, two fast quads can zip you up there. And it's just a nice way to end the day and spend the afternoon.
And meet up with your kids. There you go.
There you go.
You've
Yes.
got a whole lap there.
Yes.
There is some backcountry skiing up there too, isn't there?
There is, and most of we don't the ski and ride from a guide service perspective or teaching perspective. We don't take clients, guests out of the ski area boundary, and the boundary essentially on the Mansfield side would be from Chin Clip, which is off of the gondola over to Toll Road, and that's sort of so there's good inbounds glades and trees. It's just a matter of knowing where to go. And then at Spruce, there's not as much, but there is some inbounds backcountry. And then the as you drive up the mountain, the cross country center, that's sort of where the birth of skiing was at Stowe, is in the Ranch Valley. And you can it's more backcountry touring than like skins or lift access backcountry. And you can go up into you follow the Ranch Brook that follows the Burt Trail, and you can go up into Steeple, up into some lovely backcountry skiing. If you have the 3 pins with fish scales, a cross country type setup, it's lovely, and it's a very pristine watershed. So the nature bath sort of side of it is fantastic, and then that also connects with the Bruce. Then the Bruce, if you're looking as you look up the mountain, the Bruce kind of takes a shoulder, runs to the right, and then eventually meets up with almost to the top of the quad. And so that's a classic backcountry run, but it is out of bounds.
And it sounds like you need to sort of a little bit of effort and some guidance to be able to ski some of those.
Yeah, there's a service, John. There's a service. I think it's Sunrise Guides. They're right adjacent to the Matterhorn at the bottom of the Harlow Hill, just when you first get into the resort proper, or almost to the resort. And they offer services like that. And I think the Cross Country Center also does some backcountry, and they have equipment rental there as well.
Well, for a normal skier who's going to stay on the mountain, or many skiers who are going to stay on the mountain, Stowe has one of the most advanced ski schools in New England, at least, and probably in the country. Started by Sepp Roosh long time ago, back in the 30s. Would you recommend that maybe on the first day, even expert skiers get someone to ski with them and show them the mountain?
Oh, yeah. I think it's fun to discover the inside track, if you will, or the locals look at the mountain based on the snow conditions, based on how the mountain how the mountain has been groomed, what the skiing is like. I mean, a guide would have access to the grooming reports and know the exposures. And then if it's a powder day, then there's an opportunity to discover a few little inbound secret spots for some uncut or something like that. Or if it's, no soft new snow, they can certainly point the way to, good groomers and good cruising or bumps or whatever you'd like. I think it's always good to have a guide take you around to get to know the area anyways, because then you can maximize your ski day.
I've found that in a lot of areas, that having a local, someone who knows the mountain and knows how it's skiing that day, that week, and knows the mountain really well, it's really helpful the first day, or to be able to get your bearings, know where to ski, and then you're good on your own.
Mm-hmm.
The ski school there has got a huge history, and I know that you've been intimately involved with that for many years. Maybe you could talk about the history of how Stowe started and how the ski school got set up.
Well, originally, like you said, in the early 30s, 1936, 1937, Sepp Roosh essentially created both. It was the Mount Mansfield Ski Club that eventually became the ski club from a racing perspective and a competitions perspective, and then also the ski school. And then, so over time, certainly the 40s and 50s, following World War II, and the 50s, many Europeans came and taught skiing. So it has that real European, Austrian influence from Sepp. And then later, a gentleman, Kerr Sparks, took over the school and ran it for, I think, certainly in the 60s and 70s. And then his son, Peter, or Sepp's son, Peter Roosh, was a ski team member, and he ran the school until I started doing it in '95. And I think that, yeah, I think it's really about two things. One is the mountain is a major playground, and really it's about, developing your technique or your tactics to ski the mountain, and the mountain is the real teacher. And that's the coolest thing. One of the nice things about Stowe is it has that varied terrain. It's got some real steeps. I mean, in my opinion, if you can ski well at Stowe, you could probably ski pretty darn well at most any area in the country. Certainly, I mean so then that attracts good skiers and riders, and then people that are passionate about the sport because they're doing it because they love to ski and ride, and then also passionate about skiing. And I think that or teaching, and that just sets up for some fun learning environments and fun camaraderie with the student and the teacher.
That's a pretty cool background, a pretty cool history. A lot of areas were jump started by a lot of the Austrians that came over in the 30s and stayed and made this their home. And Stowe's one of those that has the longevity to have done that, and along with a couple of other areas. And that's a great story. Intermediate skiers, you've talked a little bit about it. It sounds like intermediate beginners are best off at Spruce Peak to start. They've got a ton of terrain for intermediates and beginners at Stowe. Is that about the best place?
Yeah, I think if you're going to, certainly I would highly recommend, instead of doing the black and blue method to learning, is to start out and get some coaching. I think you need coach. I would highly advise it, both from a responsibility standpoint. As a person out there on the hill, you really have the responsibility to kind of know how to do certain things from a responsibility perspective. So going in and doing whether it's a private lesson or a multi-person group lesson, I think it's a good way to get started. And so then how to ride the lifts, how to put your gear on safely. You can do all of that. You understand a little bit of the rules of the road. And I think that makes you then a legit skier or rider. And then so starting at Spruce, like I said, inspiration, lovely trail. I think you want that blend of just enough pitch to move, but not so much that you want to not, you don't want to do the sport anymore. So, having a boyfriend take girlfriend up a blue or, up the gondola, we've definitely had that before. And then, it's the black and blue method coming down. That's probably not the best way to start out. So certainly Spruce, maybe a lesson, for sure. And then the Easy Street and the Meadows Quad, really nice greens to then more difficult greens. And then when you're comfortable skiing on the kind of a green, easier blue, then heading to Mansfield is really fun. And to run up the quad and go down the toll road. The toll road is basically a 4-mile run that would go all the way. It cannot go all the way down to the toll house area, or if it's open because there's no snowmaking down there, or you take a left as you're coming down and you head back to the mountain. And that's a lovely trail that you get the full alpine, get up in the, above tree line. It's just really pretty up there.
That's incredible. That's quite a mouthful in terms of terrain for basically every level of skier. That's great. What's your favorite month to ski Stowe? Or does every month have its own pluses and minuses?
Well, I tend, like right now, for me, it's February and March, although sometimes you could get some early big winter storms, but, early season with limited terrain, that's not my favorite time to ski, but definitely February and March, the sun is higher, the days are a little longer. And February and March, usually we get quite a bit of snow. It's usually a snowy month. So those are probably my favorite times to ski for sure.
I remember some great times in March in Vermont with sugar on snow and the skiing that goes with it. So I think you're on the same track I am. It's beautiful up there then.
Yeah, it is. It's really nice. I mean, we can get, if there's early snow, and Stowe has a phenomenal snowmaking system, so they can lay down quite a bit of snow. And if we don't have a huge freeze thaw, a lot of freeze thaw cycles, then they don't have to go back and repair. They can continue to open terrain. And I think when more terrain gets open, it's more fun for sure.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the white ribbon of death
Yeah.
early in the season. That's scary stuff. So let's go a little bit different direction. Not everyone skis, and Stowe's not only about skiing. There's a lot there. It's charming New England mountain town. There's a lot of boutiques, businesses, excellent dining options. I know that there's a lot of choices for food. Let's maybe talk about that for a minute downtown.
Yeah, well, the whole Route 108 is just dotted with lovely places to dine. Dock Ponds, from starting from the down in town. Dock Ponds is great. The Bench, Idle Time, Picasso. They're just really all kinds of different types of cuisine, easy for families, or more sort of if you want more of the the full tablecloth, full on service. Places like the Plate, good, lovely, great places to dine. Up at Trap Family Lodge is also they have Austrian cuisine up there. And then there are the brew pubs. There are more craft breweries in the Stowe area. I mean, you've got the Alchemist, which is fantastic. They've made the infamous Heady Topper that basically put double IPAs on the map, I think. And then you have Traps. They do the lagers and more of a Pilsner style beer. They do some IPAs. Those are fantastic. And then Idle Time is there. Then you have Stowe Cider, which is, you can go up for some hard cider and then head north towards Morrisville. And there's the Soulmate, there's Rock Art, there's 10 Bends, if you go, you have to definitely go to a brew pub or something and sample some of the quintessential Vermont IPAs.
Man, that's a lot of choices.
Yeah.
That's a lot of choices. What about lodging? You talked a bit about staying up at Spruce, but I know that there are a number of other lodges and inns on the way in town and on the way up the hill.
Yes, there are. And also small bed and breakfasts. The best thing on that, John, is to go to the site Go Stowe. And at Go Stowe, that's basically that's the driver for a lot of that particular information. But yes, there are some smaller inns. There are inns that have a higher level of service. It really depends. There's something for everybody, really, that you can find based on the price point and based on what your lodging experience wants to be. And I think also something to ask about is certainly during peak times, it's also nice to be able to have access to the Mountain Road shuttle. And the shuttle runs up Route 108 and some other places, and just makes getting in and out to and from your lodging easier. The town of Stowe is super pedestrian friendly. So there's a lot of places when you get downtown, you can walk to, and sometimes people like to stay within walking distance of the town itself.
What about opera and nightlife? I know there's some of that at Stowe. I've heard rumors.
Oh yeah. The move really would be, if you can ski it, is to, take the last run on the quad or the last chair and then jump on the Bruce. And the Bruce, it's out of bounds, so you want to know where you're going, but then you ski down the Bruce and that empties out. It's a bit of a slog right at the end. So for riders, it's kind of tough on a snowboard, but you can do it if you borrow your buddy's poles or something like that. Then that empties out at the Matterhorn, and the Matterhorn is the quintessential après bar scene for sure. It's right at the foot of the Harlow Hill as you come down out of the resort, and then from there you can do the pub crawl and just continue on. There is lots of places on the way down the mountain to enjoy many beers. The Bench has a number of taps. There's lots of places that have lots of good après scene for sure. But it's also, yeah. Go ahead.
Sounds like you need. Oh no! It sounds like you. There's enough choices. You need to be careful that you don't miss the next day.
Oh yeah. The easiest thing to do is don some snowshoes and then you can walk along the bike path, white or cross country skis and go along the bike path. There's plenty of stops on the way, and then just arrange someone to pick you up. So that's a good way to see. That's a good way to see all the nightlife at Stowe.
What's the best breakfast in Stowe for you?
In town would be the Butler's Pantry. It's right across from the kind of one of the icons in Stowe, the big white community church. That's a favorite. And then another, if I'm up on the mountain skiing, the Octagon, I think Skiing wrote them up as having one of the finest breakfast sandwiches in the world. So they make a unbelievably good egg sandwich at the Octagon at the top of the quad. So, that's always the good move when you're ready to, you've had 4, 5, 6 runs, ready to warm the toes up, maybe go in there and get a cup of hot chocolate or coffee and have an egg sandwich.
Can we spend a couple of minutes talking about your philosophy about skiing and instruction? You've spent a lot of time showing people how to ski and working on the demo team, and I know you've got some pretty good viewpoints on that.
Yeah, well, I think the key would be is if you're looking to get better, you need a coach. That's the bottom line, especially in sports. You need a coach. It would be, John, like if you're wanting to get better at shooting free throws in basketball, but there's a big curtain above the net, so you can't see the net. You could throw the ball, goes up over the curtain, but you can't see if the ball went in or not. You need feedback. Coaches give you feedback, and I think that the coach will really. So you got to find a coach, and then once you found a coach that you enjoy being with, you really have to trust what it is that they're saying, particularly as adult learners. When you learn something new, not only do you have to learn something new, you have to let go of what you already do. And so you get into this never land where you don't own what you used to be able to do, and you don't own what you're trying to do. So actually your performance ebbs. And so as you learn, performance often goes down. So if you don't trust your coach, you're not going to kind of be in this, oh, my performance is ebbing, I'm not getting better, I don't like my coach. You have to sort of be in that space for a while. And then eventually you start to have these little breakthroughs. It's like in golf, you got to hit in the 90s. If you hit in the 80s, you want to hit in the 70s. You got to hit in the 90s for the summer in order to get into the 70s. And so if you don't trust your coach, you're not going to do that. So that's a big component of it. So finding a coach and then giving into it and giving into what they would be professing as necessary to make your next jump from a performance standpoint, and then practicing. You practicing the right things, and then practice, and then you get better and you jump into new places. And there's nothing better to be with a student or a guest that's practicing, and then they start to have these lovely breakthroughs and they start to do things that they've never done before. And that's a blast to be with people doing things that have accomplished for the first time. Skied a bump run they never thought they could ski. Super fun to do that.
Your own personal favorite day at Stowe, when you don't have other responsibilities, let's put it that way. When you go out and get to do whatever you want for the day.
Well, the perfect day would be my wife and I waking up, getting up early, be on the mountain by 7:30, 7:45. Quad opens at 8. 5 or 6 runs, have a little break, have a cup of joe, coffee, have the egg sandwich in the Octagon, then maybe head over to the gondola, cruise around, again, based on the snow conditions. And then there's a saying in Stowe, 10 by 10 runs by 10 o'clock. And then, then by 11, we're boots off, lunch at home, quick nap, and then I make furniture. So I head to my workshop for the afternoon.
That sounds spectacular. I mean, you got it nailed. That's you've done it enough. You should, but I like that program. Yeah. How can our listeners find you if they wanted to meet you up at Stowe and take some runs or leverage some of your expertise? Is the ski school the best place?
Yep. Ski school is the best place. And the best place to access the ski school is through the stowe.com web portal. And basically that's the easiest way to do that, and through all the Vail Resort sort of organization that way, and through their ski school. It's quite a sophisticated reservation option. And then the reservationist would reach out to me and make connections like that.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
Perfect. Dave, thank you so very much for taking time to talk to us about Stowe and skiing and, life in general up there. You might see Dave anywhere on the mountain in the winter, or you might not see him when he's working in his workshop building furniture. If you want to contact him, the Stowe Ski and Snowboard School is the right place to reach out. If you like our podcasts, please share them and listen to perspectives on this and other areas like Anton, Palisades Tahoe, Jackson, Sugarbush, Portillo, the Dolomites, and many others. Thank you for joining, and thank you, Grits, for the music.
She feel it, we feel